All right, it was obviously it was great to get going, and we've told the kids that you know before you play a season, there's 4 phases. Kind of break it down into 4 phases: winter conditioning, spring ball, summer conditioning, and fall camp. And I thought the first phase, our winter conditioning, really liked the way the guys approached it, attacked it. You know, we had a lot of growth in that area, and this was the start of phase 2. You know, spring ball, and you know we got 15 opportunities in 44 days. You know, we got spring break in it, but how can we maximize that? And so I like their approach to it. These first 3 practices, we're going to be in helmets and just teach kind of the fundamentals. And you're obviously talking about plays and defensively, new system, and so you want to make sure that they're understanding it, but really trying to focus on and boiling down to the techniques and the skills needed to perform what the scheme asks. So that's kind of the focus today, and we'll be on Tuesday and Thursday, and then we got spring break, and we'll come back and have 12 practices. But it was a good start to it, because I thought there was a lot of teaching going on, and the kids are in a good spot to learn, and that's what makes coaching fun, and so looking forward to coming back Tuesday.
What homework do you give them over that spring break after you do the 3 practices and you come back?
You know, as we're teaching, you know, what comes first, right? You know, if you have a defensive scheme, you know, you've got certain run fits, and then what are the techniques needed in there? So I think it's, you know, over spring break, it's probably scheme. You understand where it fits in, and but also the different, you know, the skills and techniques are kind of tools they can have in their toolbox, and so what do they need to pull out. But I think, you know, over spring break, they got to do enough, certainly physically, to, you know, they put themselves in you know, good shape and they're ready, but they got to make sure that they do enough over spring break physically. But I think mentally, and there's a component, I think, to getting away mentally and recharging. So they'll have some things, but it won't feel like homework. It'll feel like a treat to be able to study.
Well, TJ Watt started to make some plays as the year went on last year. What's the next step for him this year?
You know, I think you're right, Jeff. I mean, I thought the last 3 games, you know, he was starting to get comfortable with it, and I think now it's the volume of it. You know, a lot of those were more pass situations, so I think it's you know, comfort in the run game. But even then, it's you know, taking that next step. That's one thing that's tremendous about spring ball, is that we're not getting ready to play an opponent, and so you can focus on what that is that you need to improve. And I think guys, you know, coaches need to help the players so they're not trying to get better at everything. You know, pick out a couple things this day and focus on it. But I think TJ's, I think there's truth to it. You could say everything. You know what I mean? He's got to focus on it. But I think that there's some specifics, and each coach has given each player, you know, and that was one that Tibbs was talking about. TJ is, you know, kind of that every down. And not that he didn't, and you know, he was in the rotation and did some good things, so it's not like he hasn't been doing it all, but I think it's just the every down. I think it's always, you know, the outside backer, you know, your linebackers are like tight ends. You know, they're involved with everything, so it's, you know, kind of making sure how you're fitting in your coverage scheme, and it's, you know, it's making sure you've got that one pass rush move. Now what's the counter off of it? And, you know, I mean, you could look at get off. There's so many little things. That's what we're trying to reduce it down to, focusing on the small things. But I think it's pretty much everything. Mm-hmm. But it's not to say that he's not really good at a lot of things, you know.
Do you have any expectations for the quarterback battle going forward? Are you going to let them just kind of battle it out the whole offseason?
Expectations that they get better. You know, they're going to get a lot of reps, and so I see it. You know, they're going to get a lot of reps, and the expectation is they improve.
Are there pluses and minuses to have just 2 healthy scholarship quarterbacks in the spring when you're replacing?
Yeah, I mean, obviously both, I think, have to, you know, stay healthy. But it's you know, the one thing guys fight for is reps, and they're going to get a ton of reps. And what they do with those reps is really the key to it. But I think it's a good situation for them, and I think they both can use the work. You know, it'll be good for them.
What's the difference?
Coach Chryst,
talk about first day. You know what you saw out of your team. Like, how excited are you? Excited for this Badger football team?
I'm excited to see you after this.
That's great. That's great. That's all we have time for.
What's the biggest? Coach, what have you seen?
There goes the quarterback reps.
What have you seen from Ryan Ramczyk the last year that makes you really confident to just plug him in at the left tackle spot?
Well, I mean, thought a lot of when we were out in Pittsburgh, we offered him, and knew he's had a chance to. Was an athletic big guy, and I thought he did a great job last year of kind of diving in and getting comfortable with the team, the system. Did a great job, because he couldn't play. He was on scout team and did a great job with that there. And just glad now that he's kind of in the eligible pool, and it's big for him. He hasn't been in the system forever, so it's a big for all our guys. Just keep learning it. But he's a good football player, and fired up that he's here.
What's the biggest difference for you and the staff in year two as you start spring compared to what it was like a year ago?
I think the biggest difference is you have a better idea of the players, and how they learn, skill sets. I think clearly the biggest difference is knowing the individuals better than we did day one last year.
What's the biggest thing you learned from your first year as head coach here going into the second year?
I don't know what the biggest thing is necessarily. You're always learning. You want to learn. We ask our players every day to get better. We as coaches better do the same thing. There's a ton of lessons, and I don't know if there's the one that stuck out more than the other, but like to think that you learned a lot and need to continue to keep growing and learning.
You talked a little bit last winter about the things that Corey has said to you since the incidents and everything, and now he's looking ahead to this year. So kind of has there been anything as far as like what have you seen from him since then into now?
Well, I mean, it's not like with Corey that you have the talk and then you don't see each other. You're around, other than when we're on the road recruiting, you're around him a lot, and so it's it's good to have him out and get him going, and kind of like the previous question, what do you learn from it and what do you take from it and go, and good Corey's he's great for this team, and I'm looking forward to. Now we get to spend a ton of time with him, and I'm looking forward to that with him and every other kid.
With Wilcox taking over the defense, how much autonomy do you give him, and how much input do you have? Do you have a final say on a certain player at a certain position, or is it pretty much all, let him do what he wants to do with the defense? And
Yeah, I think guys that when putting together the staff, and kind of has always appreciated this as an assistant, and same as a head coach. You want guys to take ownership and go, but it's collective. It's never been about one person, and that was one of the reasons why I felt like Justin was a great fit, was that he approached it the same way. No one's looking to do it on their own. No one wants to do it on their own, and I think we can all help each other. And specifically with Justin, I'm going to bounce things off of him. He's going to bounce them off of me. Him and Rudy are going to talk. It takes everyone and working with it, but certainly want guys to have ownership. I think that's what makes you a better coach, holds you accountable, and yet we're all going to take it. At the end, it's on me, right? And that's a good thing. But certainly, every coach is going to have a strong say and has areas that they've got to champion and take control of.
I guess something that Barry was asked at Guards News Conference earlier this week, and that is there significance for you to have two in-state guys heading up, the high-profile programs at the school?
I think it's the significance to me is it's a hard one because you can't separate if Greg was from some other place. I appreciate and having gotten to know Greg, who he is. You're happy for him and you're happy for the program. I don't know if I'd be less excited or feel less proud of that opportunity that he has if he was from another state, right? So people trumps but yeah, I mean, I'm proud of where I'm from, and I'm proud of, you know, being the coach here at Wisconsin. I know Greg is the same, but I don't know. I think people always kind of trump. In my mind, they trump it, so it's hard not to. I don't know if I'd be any more excited or less excited because Greg wasn't from the state. But yeah, I think it's you know, it's a big deal to us, I know, but I don't know what it is on the outside looking in.